In the hills of ancient Israel, a man named Gideon labored in obscurity, threshing wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianite raiders who ravaged the land. Gideon's face was haunted with worry. News of the Midianites' arrival spread fear among the tribes. Suddenly, the tranquil dusk trembled with the voice of an angel. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior," the angel declared. Gideon, startled, questioned why Israel suffered and doubted his own ability. But the angel assured Gideon, "Go in the strength you have. You will save Israel." Still, Gideon requested a sign. He prepared a meal, and the angel touched it with his staff. Fire leapt from the rock, consuming the offering, convincing Gideon that the Lord indeed spoke to him. Gideon's first task was daunting: tear down the altar of Baal in his father's yard. Under cover of darkness, Gideon and 10 servants dismantled the altar and replaced it with one to the Lord. By morning, the town was furious, but Gideon's father stood by him, saying, "If Baal is a god, let him defend himself." Soon after, Midianites and Amalekites gathered in vast numbers in the valley of Jezreel. Gideon sounded the trumpet, summoning the tribes of Israel. Tens of thousands came, but Gideon sought another sign. Over 2 nights, he placed fleeces, wool on the threshing floor. Once, dew soaked only the fleece. Next, the fleece was dry while the ground was wet. Convinced, Gideon prepared for battle. But God spoke again. "You have too many men. If you win, Israel will claim glory for itself." Gideon announced, "Anyone fearful may return home." Over 22,000 men departed, leaving 10,000. Still, God said, "Too many." Gideon led the men to the spring. As they drank water, God instructed Gideon to observe how they drank. Most knelt and drank, but a few scooped water with their hands. God said, "With the 300 who lapped with their hands, I will deliver Midian into your hands." That night, Gideon crept to the enemy camp with his servant. Hidden, he overheard a Midianite recount a dream. "A loaf of barley tumbled into our camp, striking a tent. The tent overturned." Another interpreted, "This is the sword of Gideon. God has given Midian into his hands." Bolstered, Gideon returned. He divided the 300 into 3 groups, handing each man a trumpet and an empty jar with a torch inside. "Watch me," he instructed. "When I break the jars, blow your trumpet and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" Deep into the night, the groups encircled the Midianite camp. At Gideon's signal, they broke their jars, unleashing the torchlight, blaring trumpets and shouting. The Midianites awoke in terror, imagining a host of attackers. In confusion, they turned their swords upon one another. Those who escaped were pursued by the Israelites, newly emboldened. Israel's victory was astonishing. Gideon's 300 chased the fleeing enemy, capturing their leaders, Oreb and Zeb. Gideon and his men, exhausted but determined, crossed the Jordan, pursuing 2 more kings, Zebah and Zalmunna. Nearby towns refused aid, fearing retaliation, but Gideon pressed on. Eventually, he captured the kings, avenged his men's losses, and punished the towns for their lack of support. The people urged Gideon to rule as king. He refused, saying, "The Lord will rule over you." Instead, he asked for a share of the plunder, gold earrings from the spoils. Gideon crafted an ephod, a religious garment. Sadly, as years passed, the Israelites began to worship this ephod, forgetting God once more. Gideon lived in peace, and his 70 sons flourished. But after Gideon died, the people reverted to idol worship and ignored his legacy. Gideon's story became a lesson for generations, that faith allows even the humble and unlikely to achieve miracles, but vigilance is needed to retain devotion. In the centuries since, the story of Gideon's 300 men has echoed as a symbol of trusting divine wisdom over worldly strength, urging each new generation to remember, believe, and act courageously even when odds seem impossible.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the story, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting Bible stories like this.